Welcome to the virtual training seminar for adult learning under the KA2 project, Enhancing New Age Skills for Adults. Let's begin.
In this session, we will talk about Icl and culture shock. To explain what is intercultural learning, we have to start and introduce the concept of culture. So, what is culture? Culture is not only about nationality or ethnicity and is not only about external factors, but basically culture is everywhere. It's like water to fish and can be defined as a learned set of shared characteristics or interpretations about beliefs, perceptions, values, norms, knowledge, attitude, and language, which affect the behaviors of a relatively large group of people. So, as we already know, in culture there are some visible aspects and parts in which we focus more. Just to name few of them, like architecture, art, cooking, language, music. But we have to keep in mind that there are many cultural components that are invisible and lie below the surface. The powerful foundations of culture are more difficult to spot. For example, the history of the group of people that hold the culture, their norms, their values, their basic assumptions about space, nature, and time. All these aspects are more difficult to see. And like you see in the slide and from the picture, we present to you the model of iceberg that say that culture is like an iceberg. They use this metaphor because when we see an iceberg, the visible portion that we can see above the waterline is very small compared to the wall. Like an iceberg, most of the culture's aspects lies beneath the surface. Is exactly this lower part of the iceberg the powerful foundation of all. Now that you know what is culture, we arrive to the concept of intercultural learning or ICL. ICL is the process of learning that you achieve when you face a different cultural environment and background. You could face in the process of learning some limitations and difficulties. Why? The intercultural encounter is difficult because we don't interact and communicate in a normal or spontaneous way. For these reasons, most of the times we could feel insecure, while we are more confident when we experience usual situations characterized by rules and norms of behavior that we are used to know and share. The main goal of intercultural learning is seen as the development of intercultural competence. What is intercultural competence? Is the ability to act and relate appropriately and effectively in various and different cultural contexts. But why is it important to develop a very strong intercultural competence? If you think about it, nowadays we have a lot of opportunities to encounter and to face different cultures and different environments because of the development and the implementation of the new technologies. We are more and more interconnected, and people from different contexts and backgrounds can come into contact on a regular basis, for example at university or in their works or in other everyday situations. And also in your case, for example, that you are doing an Erasmus program, of course, you will face a different cultural background. Every situation in which we encounter a person who comes from a different context to us and who does not share so much of our habits and normality can be defined as intercultural. Let's see together the main steps of ICL. The first step is to see and accept our own culture and to go deeper in our own culture awareness. You have to think that when you start a process of tolerance and acceptance of the diversity, so of the other and of something that is unknown, you have always to begin with yourself and your self-awareness. The second step is to enrich our instruments and criteria to identify and understand different cultures. How can you do it? You have to try to change your point of view, realizing that other cultural models are different without judging them. You have to try to be more aware and respectful toward other cultures, improving your flexibility skill to break down stereotypes and prejudices, widening your cultural horizons and options. The third step is trying to be able and to develop constructive and interactive relationships in a different cultural environment. Dealing with intercultural conflicts and difficulties due to different cultural standards, values and mindsets can make this process problematic or difficult, but this is the last step to gain your intercultural competence and to learn really how to deal with different cultural environment and backgrounds. Related to the concept of ICL and intercultural competence, there is the concept of comfort zone and going out from our comfort zones. We can define the comfort zone as a behavioral state within which a person operates in an anxiety-neutral condition, using a limited set of behaviors to deliver a steady level of performance, usually without a sense of risk. We can figure our comfort zones like as our family, our friends, the people who usually we are going out with, also our physical environment and all the characteristics that make our environment unique. Of course, our habits and our routines that we put in action in the everyday life. Why we are talking about comfort zones? Because it is important in our life to step outside from our comfort zones. It is important because it will make us reflect and analyze our usual behaviors and our usual thoughts, and will make us go through a personal growth and personal changements that will help us in the future to face different situations and to be more self-aware and more flexible. As you can see from the slide, this is the main process and the main steps that you will face if you are going out from your comfort zone. The first step is you, in your comfort zone, feeling safe and in control because of the boundaries that you create in your everyday environment. When you are going out from your comfort zone, you will face the fear zone. Above all, at the beginning, you could feel lack of self-confidence, you could find excuses, or you could be affected by others' opinions. But if you will be able to overcome the fear zone, you will be in the learning zone. In the learning zone, you will acquire new skills to deal with challenges and problems, and you will extend your comfort zone. The last step is the growth zone, and in the growth zone, you will be able to use the learned skills to achieve your goals, and of course to find them, to plan them, to take action, and then to achieve your goals and your dreams. Going out from your comfort zones is not only about moving to another country or facing a totally different culture. It could be also moving in your country, moving from the countryside to a city, or the opposite, of course, or starting a new job, or adjusting to a new social role, for example. Any kind of transition that make you feel the challenge and make you feel the diversity and the changements that are arriving in your life. But as the quote says, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. There are other possible symptoms that characterize the phenomenon of culture shock. They can be both psychological and physical ones, and the development of one symptom, one specific symptom, rather than another, can be very subjective. So it depends mostly from the person and from the resources and the weaknesses of the person. From the psychological side, we could feel anxiety, depression, or loneliness. We could feel homesick, so we could miss a lot our comfort zone. We could have disturbed sleep patterns, so we could oversleep or not sleep at all. We could have the tendency to isolate ourselves because we have also a decreased desire and motivation to experience something new in the new environment. Because of the general situation, our levels of attention and concentration could decrease a lot, and also, of course, our productivity. We could have poor time management because we are in difficulty, and sometimes can happen also that we could face drastic personality changes. For the physical side and aspects, we could have, for example, over concern about health, so a little bit of hypochondria, headaches, unusual allergies or allergies in unusual periods, or general somatization. Professionists developed a model to explain the phenomenon of culture shock. This model is called the W curve model, and includes the phenomenon of culture shock, and also another one that is new because in the other slides we didn't mention it, but is the reverse culture shock. Let's go step by step. When you are leaving home and you are going out from your comfort zones, usually you are feeling excited and motivated. So your tendency is to notice
in the starting point the positive aspects of your decision and your choice. So you are in the stage of honeymoon. When you are in the new environment for a while, you could start to notice some differences between your own culture, so your comfort zone, and the new culture. So some aspects that you are not used to, that can make you feel uncomfortable, and that you can judge like negative aspects of the new environment. Because of this, you could face a period of crisis that we call a culture shock. If you will be able to recover from this period, you will be in again in up, as you can see from the picture, and you will be in a stage of adjustment, so in a stage of acculturation, because you will be able to build a new comfort zone in a new environment, and you will be able to accept the aspects of the new culture that before were a little bit making you feel confused or disorientated. Now we can talk about the other phenomenon, that is the reverse culture shock. When you are returning to your home, so to your comfort zone, you feel excited again. So we can notice that there is more or less the same mechanism of the precedent one, but is in some way opposite, because of course you are going again in your old routine, and of course you are feeling excited because some aspects of your culture and of your comfort zone you missed a lot, but at certain point you could miss something that was precious for you in the experience abroad. So you could feel the reverse culture shock with similar symptoms of the culture shock that we talked about it before. And also here again, if you will be able to recover, you will be in a stage that it will be an adjustment at home in your home culture.
Each of us, when is deciding to go out from the comfort zone, has specific factors that are motivating the choice. We can call the factors push and pull factors, and they are different. The push factors are things or aspects that make people want to leave a place. The pull factors are things that make people want to move to a specific place. So you can reflect and ask yourself, in your situation, which are your both personal and professional push and pull factors.